So just got back home from what some might consider to be an unsuccessful attempt to witness to people. Going out like in the public and witnessing is something that I hadn't been doing recently, and God's been putting it on my heart to do. And I made a promise to God. I said, God, I'll go out and witness. You told me you command us to go and preach the gospel to every creature, so that's what I'll do. I'll go and do it. So I went out maybe a couple hours ago, and I walked around. I was walking around campus, and I came up to person one. It was an older black lady, and I said, hey, I kind of came into it like, hey, you got time to answer a few questions for me? And she was just straight up like, no, I don't really feel like it. I think she said I'm tired or something like that, or she just didn't feel like talking. And I said, well, are you sure? Like, can you answer just one or two questions for me? And she's like, no, I don't feel like talking. And I said, well, I said to myself, well, I guess there's nothing I can do about that. And I moved on, kept walking until I found person two. It was an older white man. He was at his bike. I guess he was unlocking his bike to go and ride it off to wherever he was going. And I walked up to him before he could get on it while he was unchaining it. And I said basically the same thing. Hey, excuse me, dude, can you answer a few questions for me? And I was going to kind of lead that into witnessing. And he said, no, I just got off a 12-hour shift. I'm tired. I don't feel like answering any questions. I don't feel like talking to you right now. And I was kind of like, oh, well, dang. I just got out of that situation. And I saw that he had like it said Shandon Baptist Church on his shirt. It had a logo on his shirt. And I kind of brought that up. I said, oh, you go to church, you got a Shandon Baptist Church shirt on. He's like, yeah, I went once or twice. And he kind of rushed it and said, yeah, I don't feel like talking to you. So basically I was 0 for 2. And so I came up to a third person after walking around a little bit more, an older black guy. I believe he was homeless. He was sitting on a bench in front of a convenience store. He was just sitting there. And I walked up to him and basically I said the same thing. And we actually got to talking a lot. He was a very, very knowledgeable person in history. We started talking about evolution, and then we got into like Christopher Columbus and Charles de Gaulle, and eventually the conversation kind of just led itself to Bible history. Like, we started talking about Cain and Abel. And so at that point I was kind of like, okay, the conversation's going where I wanted to go to. So this might be my a winner. But out of nowhere, this lady come up and she started yelling. I think she worked in the convenience store that the guy was sitting in front of. And I guess he's there often, because she was yelling something in our direction from across the street. I don't know what she was yelling, or if she was even yelling at the guy, but I don't know. Apparently he's out there a lot. And he got very uncomfortable when she started yelling, even though I wasn't even sure what she was saying. So I don't know, he kind of, as soon as she started yelling, she's yelling again, I'll see you later, man, I gotta go, I can't talk to you anymore. So I was like, are you sure? Like, this was a good conversation, I want to keep it going. And he's like, no, I can't talk, I gotta go. He got up and he walked away. So at this point I was kind of, I don't know, bummed out a little bit. I tried not to get bummed out. I'm basically 0 for 3. And I said, well, I'll start walking in the direction of my home, I guess. And if I find anybody else, I'll try and talk to them. And I was about home, maybe a quarter mile to my house. And I was on the sidewalk. And I see this white lady, older white lady, sitting down on the sidewalk. She was talking to herself, like, real loud. I don't know. She was kind of, I was convinced she was on drugs. She looked kind of, what's the word? She didn't look like she was all there. She was sitting on the ground, and when I got close enough, I could hear what she was saying. And she was saying things like, God execute these people driving across the highway, and crazy stuff like that. So I was convinced that she was some kind of drug user or something, as I didn't really know what to do. So when I walked up to her, I kind of walked past her a little bit, and then she said something that caught my attention. I can't remember what exactly she said, but whatever it was, it caused me to turn around. And she said something about God, and I turned around. I said, well, do you believe in God? And she just got offended for some reason. Like, what do you mean, do I believe in God? I'm a chaplain. Do you know what that is? If I didn't believe in God, this and that and other. And she got offended, and then I asked her, well, do you believe in heaven and hell? And then she just got up and started cursing at me. She got up, came towards me. I don't know. She came towards me a little bit, started cursing at me, and was just yelling and cursing, started to walk away. So I said, well, I guess I'm 0 for 4 in this. And I don't know. So I mean, when I left to go out to witness in the beginning, I was set out to go and preach the gospel to at least one person. And so, I mean, basically, and I'm 0 for 4 with the people I talked to. So it looks like I've failed. It looks like that I was unsuccessful. But I figured I'd come home and maybe make a video about it, about my experiences, and maybe this could be like some encouragement to any young Christians out there that's struggling with going out to witnessing to people or going out and sharing their faith. And maybe this can be like a lesson that we can both learn, that everybody's not going to want to hear what you got to say, or everybody's not going to have time to hear what you got to say. Not everybody, even if they start listening to you, everybody's not going to continue listening to you. Maybe it's something you say, or maybe some external source that comes in and just messes things up. But you still have to have the faith to go out and talk to them, and to initiate conversation and to start dialogue, because the Lord commands us to, because he says, go out and preach the gospel to every creature. The reason he tells us to do that is so we can let other people know that, of course, that Jesus is Lord. And because got walking past, driving past. So, I mean, he tells us to do that so we can let people know of the coming danger, of the coming judgment, because God is good. And because God is good, he punishes sin, because, I mean, we're inherently sinful. And, I mean, you know, because we're inherently sinful, you know, the soul that sins shall die. So, yeah, it's something we need to do, and it's something that God has put in us to do. We need to go out and do it. So this is just a word of encouragement to whoever out there.